As passengers boarded, a man in a wheelchair struggled down the narrow aisle. Flight attendants looked stressed. The man's seat, cramped economy, last row. But before anyone could react, Johnny stood up, quietly, calmly, and offered his seat. Gasps. Confusion. Some thought it was a prank, but no. Depp smiled, said, "He needs it more than I do," and took the economy seat without fuss. No cameras, no press. But what happened mid-flight left everyone speechless. Even Johnny didn't see it coming. Want to know what happened next? As the plane took off, the buzz from Johnny Depp's selfless act slowly settled into a quiet admiration. Passengers whispered, flight attendants smiled discreetly, and the man in the wheelchair, Michael, sat in first class, visibly overwhelmed. But what happened mid-flight turned a simple gesture into something unforgettable. Johnny, now squeezed into a middle seat in the very back, had tucked himself behind his hat, trying not to draw attention. A flight attendant brought him water with an apologetic smile, but he just nodded politely. Meanwhile, Michael was still in disbelief. The man who gave up his seat wasn't just any passenger, it was Johnny Depp. The same Johnny who played Jack Sparrow, who filled theaters with laughter and wonder. About halfway through the flight, Michael asked to speak to Johnny. At first, the crew hesitated, but Johnny, overhearing, simply smiled and said, "Bring him back here." So Michael, with help, made his way down the aisle and stood beside Johnny's cramped row. Passengers peeked over seats, holding their breath. What came next silenced the cabin. Michael knelt down as best he could and said softly, "You didn't just give me your seat, you gave me dignity." Johnny looked confused, touched. Michael continued, "I lost my leg in an accident 3 years ago. This is my first trip alone since. I was terrified, until today." He then pulled out a worn photo from his jacket pocket, of him and a young girl. "That's my daughter. She's waiting for me in Chicago. I've been saving for this trip for a year, and now, she'll never forget that her dad sat in first class, thanks to Captain Jack Sparrow." Johnny's eyes welled up. He reached into his own bag and pulled out something wrapped in a cloth. It was a silver ring weathered pirate-like. He placed it in Michael's hand and said, "Give her this. Tell her it's from her dad's friend Jack." There wasn't a dry eye around them. As Michael returned to his seat, every passenger clapped. No fanfare, no spotlight, just pure, human gratitude. When the plane landed, Michael waited by the gate with his daughter. She ran into his arms, beaming. As Johnny walked by, sunglasses on, coat slung over his shoulder, he waved gently and disappeared into the crowd. Michael's daughter looked up at him, clutching the silver ring. Her eyes sparkled like she held buried treasure. "Did he really give this to me?" she whispered. Michael knelt, brushing her hair behind her ear. "He said brave girls deserve magical things," he replied, voice trembling. She turned, scanning the crowd for a glimpse of the man. But Johnny was already gone, like a legend fading into the mist. Still, in her tiny hand, she held proof that kindness is real magic.